Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Cutting it a little bit short here on Tuesday with All-American Racing League. Been a long day here for us at Faded TV, but we just hit the threshold. So my apologies for no pre-race interviews or any practice sessions. That's on me, but we are here when it counts. We are finishing up the practice session here momentarily. Of course, this is the Truckers Feed America series, brought to you by Top Sail Trucking. I'm Faded GG, and we welcome you into the stream. All-American Racing League, racing here every Tuesday nights. www.facebook.com/All-American Racing League. Right now, currently recruiting a consistent race control. So if you come across this VOD or you're watching it live, spread the word. Anybody that can do race control. I'm pretty sure league admin David Lorfano did say it would be a paid position. Of course, that could fluctuate depending on experience, but just throwing that out there. These guys are looking for live race control. Looks like we still got some new guys in here. Jason Arson, I believe he made Daytona last week, of course. Maybe a race or two at the end of last season, but we'll highlight him tonight as we make, or are still making, some debuts here. We know the Patrick Mcquaids, the David Lorfanos, the David Harras, the Chad Snyders. But tonight we're going to go around and introduce some of these new guys just in case we missed them last week at Daytona. You see Jason Arson here in that 54 Mountain Dew car. Jim Ott, somebody we talked about last week, I believe. He had a really good run. Let's go over some points for these guys. 1:38 left on the practice session, as I have guys from the league DMing me right now saying this is going to be a good one tonight. So let's strap in and let's get prepared for the qualifying session as we make our way through the All-American Racing League Discord. We're going to find the cup points here. Now, what we do have are team points. That's right. These guys introduced teams late last season. It was an effort these guys wanted to make this year, adding 3 drivers per team. And right now, up there in first place is going to be JB Motorsports with 20 team points behind them. Coming in second place, which is insane considering Hillbilly Motorsports finished 1-3 last week at 19 points. Triple J Racing in third with 18. JLC Motorsports with 17. Dark Horse Motorsports 16. Beer Brothers Racing, Assault Motorsports, and Faded Motorsports at the bottom there, running 6th, 7th, 8th in the team points. All right, practice is done. We're going to get into the qualifying sessions. We'll go over the top 3 drivers in the point standings. Of course, these were the drivers finishing 1, 2, 3 last week. That number 8 car, last season's Cup champion, driving the Lucky Dog detailing for Hillbilly Motorsports, winning the Daytona 500. Louis Clark, who is a part-time driver here, finishing second, so he is P2 in points right now. And David Lorfano's teammate, David Harra, driving that 15 car for HMS is going to be third in points. So those are your top 3 drivers coming into tonight. I said very briefly, having some drivers in the DMs today, talking about how this is going to be a good race, and I am looking forward to that. Chicagoland, in my opinion, and Atlanta as well, just one of the nicer tracks on the sim, in my opinion. I'm sure there's guys out there that would disagree, as we see Adam Engerstein, who is a rookie driver, or he's a recruitment driver for Assault Motorsports. He looks like he's going to take pole, so we might be wanting to bring him up a little bit sooner than that. As you see teammate Chad Snyder, and here we go. Okay, that's why I like to wait for all the qualifying sessions to be done, as you see him get knocked all the way down to P3. Chad Snyder P4 is David Hara. For the moment, we're waiting on about 4 or 5 drivers to qualify, but I know David Hara has been practicing here quite a bit. Talked to him late last night, and he was in a practice session. He says he feels really good in the next-gen cars here, and it shows with a P2, as David Lorfano is going to be above him. Joshua Hedrick up there in the pole position in that 25 Chevrolet. So right off the rip, before I can even look at the tower along with you guys, we see a couple of names out there. This is Jim Ott. We're waiting for Cameron Harris, always a threat. We ran a race with him at Martinsville personally. Very fast driver, and we ran with him in the trucks on Sunday at Road America. So Cameron Harris looking to get a qualifying lap down as well. Eric D. Davis out onto the track. Still waiting for Cameron Harris to make his debut into the racing server. Or maybe he's doing race control for the guys tonight. I'm not too sure, but if we see him pop up, we'll be sure to stick with him. It's going to be a very draft-heavy night tonight here, guys. Talking with David Hara in his practice session last night. Of course, when you're in the draft, it's a little bit different, but he ran about 43 laps or so when I caught him in the practice session. He said the whole time he was pedal to the metal. So it should be a very fast race. Of course, that's going to change when they're in the draft. Some of these drivers will have to lift, and we'll see how they work together in the draft. But nonetheless, point being, Chicagoland offering some very, very fast racing. And that's not going to change here with the next-gen cars. And right now it looks like Joshua Hetrick leading the way on that. There's Cameron Harris in the DoorDash 27 Toyota. You see him staying up high there on these speedways. More so in super speedways, but on these bigger tracks right there, when you're going out on your outlap, you usually want to stay high off of turn 4, build up as much momentum to slingshot onto the front stretch, and then after that, you'll see them start dipping down low on their actual hot laps, and that's what Cameron has been showcasing right now. Looks like Charles Dickey making his way into the session as well. New driver for Faded Motorsports this week. And as Cameron Harris does finish, it looks like a solid P8, so top 10 for Cameron Harris in that Toyota Camry. Austin Colalela, I believe, also coming in here tonight in 17th. Charles Dickey. I'm not too sure if these guys got a qualifying lap down or not. Regardless, they will be at the end of the line. Joshua Hetrick and Jim Ott sneaking his way up into the front row. Going to be starting P2 on the outside of that 25 car. Joshua Hetrick, David Lorfano third. His teammate David Hara going to be starting fourth on that second row. Casey Pacala looking for a little bit of redemption after his showcase at the Daytona. Mark Snyder in sixth. Eric Davis going to be starting P7. Jason Arson in ninth, and Patrick Mcquaid rounding out the top 10. 100 laps here at Chicagoland. Of course, that 15 car of David Hara running the blue-gray plastics custom fabrication. Tonight's Lucky Dog will be presented by none other than Lucky Dog Detailing out of North Carolina. As we bring up the grid here, Truckers Feed America Series, we are in week 2, brought to you by Top Sale Trucking. We had a really good interview with the owner of that company last week. Very, very appreciative to have him on board as he starts investing into the sim racing realm. We are lucky to have him here at All-American Racing League. You see the top 12 drivers there behind Angerstein. Tyrone Yo going to be 13th. Brian Ludlow 14th. Larry Garnes of Hillbilly Motorsports going to be right there in 15th. Josh Higgins Jr. 19th. Austin Colalela in 17th. And Charlie Dickey in 18th. So as we get the drivers around, let's change that to laps, of course. 100 laps here at Chicagoland with the guys from All-American Racing League. Again, as I said prior, only week 2 here, so plenty of action coming your way here on Tuesday nights. Faded TV will get this out lap done and get you guys to green flag racing. There's a shot of old Tyrone. Everybody speaks very highly of him. He came in All-American Racing League a while back. Everybody's got nice things to say to him and his improvement onto the track. But up front here, Joshua Hetrick going to be taking the green flag. And his Or Lawn Care 25 onto the outside, Jim Ott. As we get underway here, 100 laps. David Lurfano already onto the bumper of that 25 car. Looking to make an early move here onto the inside of Jim Ott. That's the battle for P2. And lap 1 going to be under or in the books. Joshua Hetrick holding on to P1, lap led. In that 25 car, you'll see a lot of these drivers cutting onto the infield right there at that start-finish line. That is not cutting the course. That is perfectly legal and is seen at multiple tracks on the NASCAR circuit, but Chicago definitely being a big one. And that's simply just trying to make the course as small as possible. Cutting down there, you're cutting it across into a straight line. You don't gain too much. As you see Hetrick trying to come up the number 4 car, actually having to avoid him, swings it out real wide. You see Hillbilly Motorsports teammates David Lurfano and David Hara working together side by side. Behind them, Casey Bacala in the 41 Ford drops back to 5th. Mark Snyder up to 4th. And here comes that run onto the outside. We'll see if Jim Ott and David Hara can get anything going here onto the outside. You see David Lurfano getting out of the quarter panel of the 25. He moves up a little bit. They almost make contact. I'm not sure if the 25 and the 4 did. It looked like they might have. Lap 4 in the books, though, and that's Jim Ott, your new race leader. So good job in that 4 Chevrolet. Hanging tough there on the outside. Joshua now in danger of losing P3 as he's battling it out with Mark Snyder as we make our way out of the front stretch. David Hara in the blue-gray plastic custom fabrications, 15. in P2 trying to take a stab at first place. Making our way through the field here. David Lurfano dropping 2 spots, falling back into 5th. He's on the inside of the 77 car, Patrick Mcquaid. Patrick bringing Jason Arson along with him. He's in that 54 Mountain Dew car up top. You see behind him Assault Motorsports driver Chad Snyder sitting in 9th. He's up 2 spots since the beginning of this race. Brian Ludlow, John Higgins Jr., both up 3 spots. Charlie Dickey up 5 spots, making his way into 14th and 12th. As we say that, it looks like maybe losing a couple of spots by the time we get to him. Very nice car done by JLC Designs, as most of the cars in this series are done by JLC Designs. Look them up on Facebook if you need a paint scheme done. Road course cars, stock cars, doesn't matter. Lap 7 out of 100, Truckers Feed America Series, presented by Top Sale Trucking at Chicagoland. This is All-American Racing League and their first season with the next-gen cars. Jim Ott looking very comfortable out there in the lead. You see David trying to cut down low. Jim Ott's going to go down, cut that off, and close the books on that. And that 21 car, that's Mark Snyder, a little bit of a newer driver here at All-American Racing League. Albeit, I believe, running Daytona and maybe a race or 2 late last season. Don't quote me on that, but certainly an All-American Racing League rookie by definition. Looking to have a nice day for himself here at Chicagoland. Patrick Mcquaid up 6 spots out of Nelsonville, Ohio. Making his way up to P4 pretty early on. 10 laps down. That's a huge move from Patrick Mcquaid. Casey Picala not going anywhere. He's still in 5th, battling it out with the 41 car. Tyrone Yo Jr. back here. This is at the tail end of the field, but again, a lot of people feeling the confidence coming out of this 02 car as he keeps progressing onto the track. He runs the Super Late Model Series as well on Thursday nights, doing pretty good. He's in a points battle right now for the top of that series. Trying to keep that progression going here in the Cup Series. Austin, another newish driver to All-American Racing League. Been around here for a couple of races in that Busch Light Ford Mustang. Right there in front of Tyrone. That's in 16th place. Jason Arson, we talked about. He's fallen back 6 spots in that Mountain Dew Chevrolet. So he's back in 15th. Definitely not the start that he wanted. Adam Angerstein up 2 spots. He's gatekeeping the 10th place right there, but you see battling it out with John Higgins Jr. in that white and blue car on the outside. That's the battle for 10th. John Higgins right now with the advantage on that high line. He's going to stay there behind Joshua Hetrick, and Hetrick actually dips down low there for a little bit. Trying to catch his own draft. Back up front, though, sorry we missed it, Mark Snyder, but he takes the lead here at Chicagoland. We had talked about how many spots he had moved up, but he said, I'm going to take 2 more. Your new race leader, Mark Snyder, leading the lap at Chicagoland. Patrick Mcquaid sitting P2. He's up 8 spots in the early going. Jim Ott falls down a spot. He's in 3rd. David Herrick, Casey Picala is still running 4th and 5th. David Lurfano right outside that top 5, sitting in 6th. Oh, 77 and that 21 making contact there. Both drivers being able to make a save, but that 4 car might get a run off that. That's Patrick Mcquaid fighting for first with Mark Snyder. So we have a new race leader momentarily on lap 15, but it looks like that high line might get some momentum coming out here with Jim Ott pushing Mark Snyder, excuse me. So Patrick Mcquaid picking up some points there for leading the lap, but it didn't last long. As you see the 21 car and that 4 car working together. That's Jim Ott back there in that blue and white, pushing that 21 in the draft. David Hara, though, behind Patrick Mcquaid. You see that inside line bunched up. A little bit tighter than that high side, but I think with these next-gen cars, unlike pretty much every other stock car, didn't look like it matters. That high side just worked so well. David Lurfano back in the mix. We saw him with a hard drop-off back there, but he's moved his way back up into P4. And that is going to be our first caution of the race. Looks like Joshua Hetrick may be involved in this. We see these guys drafting really close. 2 of those cars on the out. They were pushing it 3 wide. Just contact was inevitable there when you're pushing it the way these guys were. Looked like Casey Pacala involved in that as well. We'll try to take a look from a couple different angles here. Now, these drivers are equipped with quick repair, so if there's any heavy damage, which not too sure if there is any, even though there was some contact, Josh was able to go down onto the inside into the grass. Looks like he was able to save it. Looks like David Lurfano involved in that. Let's see if we can get a replay of that. Or at least involved in something here. The caution comes out. Oh, yeah, you see David Lurfano get it onto the inside of Chad Snyder. Up high into David Lurfano. I thought we were hearing some banging into the headphones. Saw the smoke, wanted to make sure we caught that, and we did. So these cars going to be coming down pit road, even the leaders who weren't involved, as we are that far into the race to where you might as well come down, burn another set of tires. It's under caution. I like to call those free tires. And we will get a glimpse off pit road here. You see the 2 cars, Mark Snyder and Jim Ott off pit road. Bunch of cars off there before Joshua Hetrick. Of course, he was involved in that caution, so he was back at the end of the line when we all came down pit road. So some decent green flag racing here. I'm not too sure what happened with David Hara. It was under caution. And just made some contact there with Snyder. So, nonetheless, Mark Snyder, your race leader, Jim Ott, Patrick Mcquaid, Chad Snyder, David Hara, your top 5. John Higgins, Adam Angerstein, and Jason Arson, Eric Davis on the outside of that top 5 looking in, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. Restarting 10th is going to be Joshua Hetrick. Charlie Dickey moving up 7 spots, going to be on the inside, starting 11th. Outside of him is going to be Casey Pacala there on row 6, starting 12th. Larry Garnes, David Lurfano, Austin Colalela, Tyrone Yo, Cameron Harris. and Brian Ludlow in that 150 at the end of line. So back under green here, Mark Snyder taking the green flag. We'll see if Jim Ott can get back up front. You see the 77 of Patrick Mcquaid. And the 5 car of Chad Snyder behind him. You see David with a nice recovery after that mishap under caution, P5. On the outside of him in that 54 car, Jason Arson, as he makes his way back up towards the front. The 19 and 54 do make contact there. Nothing too serious, but it does look like slowing down the 54 of Jason Arson. He now falls back to 9th after that contact, fighting it out with David Lorfano, Charlie Dickey, and Joshua Hetrick. Lorfano definitely trying to make a comeback here. Lap 25 out of 100. Definitely plenty of time. We see Patrick Mcquaid off pace there. Not too sure what happens. We hear some beating and banging going around. Oh, yeah. Multiple cars involved in this. Chad Snyder, Patrick Mcquaid, Mark Snyder. Looks like before the caution, we have Austin Colella off track real quick. Looked like they were bunched up there anyways. Good job by Austin there, avoiding all of that. Now let's get back to the red. John Higgins Jr. in that 19 car. Chad Snyder just getting up onto his fender. We see the rest. Casey Bacala, Larry Garnes wrapped up in the middle of this. In that 20 car. Chaos ensuing. Good job by him, though, to hit those brakes. Avoid any real front end damage there. So good job by Larry Garnes getting out of that. Was at the tail end. This John Higgins there. Chad Snyder. Not too sure if that was some retaliation or not. Maybe some netcode problems there. You see him kind of reappear into your screen. That 77 car pretty beat up, but he does have a quick repair here under caution. So he's going to get it back out there looking nice and shiny. Only our second caution of the day here at Chicagoland in the Truckers Feed America series. Now, I think this series does offer 2 quick repairs, and I think there may be a couple of drivers that are all out of quick repairs with plenty of racing left, so they're definitely going to have to make sure they tighten that up. Not that it's necessarily always their fault when a caution comes out, but just got to play it safe. Mark Snyder, Jim Ott onto the front row of this restart. David Hera in third. Looks like Charlie Dickey in fourth. He's on the move, up 13 spots in that 37 Chevrolet. David Lorfano. Adam Angerstein, Jason Arson, Joshua Hetrick, Austin Colella, and Brian Ludlow. Going to be starting out in the top 10 on this restart. Back under green, it's going to be the 21 car of Mark Snyder. The pretty good advantage there. Jim Ott not too far behind. So pretty good jump by Mark Snyder. David Hera real quick to secure P3. David Lorfano P4. Jason Arson 5 as Charlie falls from 4th to 6th. Still up 12 spots though overall. Lap 30 in the books here on this Tuesday. Second week of action with All-American Racing League and their Next Gen Cup Series at Chicagoland. There's Joshua Hetrick storming back up through the field, making his way up to 6th behind Jason Arson. Onto the inside of David Lorfano's Lucky Dog Detailing Chevrolet. Right now, Chad Snyder, unfortunately, a lap down. But the good news is he's not racing anybody else for that Lucky Dog. So if there is another caution to come out, he's got to make sure that he is staying competitive there, as he will receive the Lucky Dog to get back onto the lead lap. So his job right now is to just settle in, keep her clean, and wait for that caution. Larry Garnes in front of him in P17. Still on the lead lap there, so that is not for position right there, as we see Chad Snyder on the outside of that 20 car. And we appreciate that, dogs, from SRL. Some league-to-league love being shown here on Faded TV. We appreciate you coming in. Back up to the front, though. It is still all Mark Snyder, but you see the 4 car of Jim Ott trying to get a run going here. David Hera in third behind him. Finished third last week at Daytona. Good showing from Hillbilly Motorsports last week. David Lorfano winning the Daytona 500. Teammate David Hera, as I just said, finishing third. Louis Clark finishing P2 last week. Him and Caden Tufts working together early and efficiently before tragedy striked and took Caden Tufts out of the race. Single file here, 1 through 4. Joshua Hetrick on the end of that. Behind him, Brian Ludlow, also on the rise, up 9 spots in that Gorilla Glue 150. P5, Eric Davis sitting 6th, Patrick Mcquaid 7th. Towards the tail end of this field, John Higgins Jr., Cameron Harris, Tyrone Yo battling it out 12th, 13th, and 14th. Austin Colabella behind them in 15th, and Adam Angerstein, that recruitment driver for Assault Motorsports, sitting in 15th right now. No panic yet, though. Lap 38 out of 100. Still plenty of race to go. Back up front, nothing has changed. That 21 Chevrolet been looking real good these last few laps, keeping Jim Ott at bay back there in P2. Off the front stretch into turn 1. These 4 cars up front really just driving away from the pack here. About a 4-second gap from Mark Snyder to 5th place driver Brian Ludlow. So Ott, Hare, and Hetrick chasing Snyder around in dominance here at Chicagoland. Joshua's got to be real careful here. It looks like he's almost in danger of losing the draft as we hop on board in the cockpit camera. Certainly doesn't want to lose the draft on the tail end of that 15 car of David Hara. Here is 5th place driver Brian Ludlow, followed by Eric Davis. '37 car of Charlie Dickey on the outside of Patrick Mcquaid. That's a battle for 9th right there, as Dickey makes his way into the top 10. Tyrone Yo also trying to get into the top 10. Good driving by Tyrone there as he does complete the pass. He's going to crack the top 10 for the first time today. Looks like Mcquaid off pace a little bit, though. You see that high line really working against him is now David Lurfano on the outside making that pass, and Jason Arson in the 54. Well, can he get it complete? As soon as I say that, Patrick with a gust of speed there Says, no, 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 Lorfano. Back up front, we see the three-man race as Joshua Hetrick is about a 0.6 seconds off the pace of your leader, Mark Snyder, but still holding on to that draft just a little bit, enough to stick around. And here comes Hetrick closing the gap on that 15 car of David Hara. Brian Ludlow still holding it down at P5. He's got two drivers with him, but they're about 6 seconds off the pace of your leader here at Chicagoland. So these guys waiting for some green flag pit stops. Try to be able to make a move and get closer up to the leader, Mark Snyder. Been caution free here for a while. We had two early cautions, but it's been green flag ever since. We appreciate you guys stopping in on Faded TV at twitch.com. This is All American Racing League in their Next Gen Cup Series, presented by Top Sail Trucking. This is the Truckers Feed America Series. Trying to get some awareness out there for over-the-road truck drivers who supply all your goods, food, clothes, school supplies, etc., etc. Got to be careful driving around those semi-truck drivers. Be respectful of the road. After all, they are a lot bigger than we are in our cars, SUVs. Of course, always keep your eyes open for motorcycles as well, as we all try to share the road. So really good cause there by Top Sail Trucking, introducing Truckers Feed America Series. Glad to be a part of that. Halfway through the race, halfway point being presented by Orr Lawn Care this evening. So shout out to those guys. Nothing's changed up front. Mark Snyder, Jim Ott, David Hara, Joshua Hetrick, your top four drivers. We're watching the battle for fifth right now between Brian Ludlow, Casey Pacala, and Eric Davis. Back behind them in eighth is John Higgins Jr. and that 19 Chevrolet in eighth. Tyrone Yo Jr. up 4 spots in ninth. And Patrick Mcquaid in 10th. On the outside looking in, Charlie Dickey 11th, Cameron Harris 12th, Jason Arson currently 14th, and Adam Angerstein dropping back to 15th. Larry Garn still on the lead lap in 16th. Drivers that are outside the lead lap, Chad Snyder and Austin Colella. Oh, the 21 car going up high there really suddenly. I thought he was about to get loose there. A little bit of a jerk reaction, it looked like almost. Of course, that is the red and white car of Mark Snyder, leading the majority of the laps here so far at Chicagoland. Heck of a drive for that 21 car. See David Hara all the way up onto that bumper of the 4 car. As we approach 60 laps out of 100, story of the night right now, Mark Snyder's dominance up in P1. We've had 2 early cautions. All the drivers involved taking full advantage of the quick repairs. Able to come down pit road, get all the damage fixed, and back out onto the track cleanly. And that's been it. It's been a real clean race so far. We see somebody on the shoulder there. I think that might be Austin Colella or Anger. I think that's Adam Angerstein. Not too sure what's going on with his number 10 Chevrolet. You see him limping to the pits on the infield there. So that does not look good for Adam Angerstein. Oh, and Charles Dickey getting into the Patrick Mcquaid. We see that live. And it looks like that may bring out a caution. Not too sure as Patrick Mcquaid slides into pit road. That might not bring out a caution here at Chicagoland. We stay green flag racing. Because that happened the way that it did, Charlie Dickey getting into the left quarter panel of Patrick Mcquaid, sliding down into the infield immediately, and then down into pit road. A lot of times that will not be a caution. It looks like the iRacing Race Control agrees with that statement. We're still going green, lap 61 out of 100 here. Let's go back and take a look at what Adam Angerstein happened here. He's in that 10 car, that all black car on your screen, gets a little bit loose. Trying to do a heck of a job of trying to save it. Locks him up into the wall. Dips down into the infield. Smart choice there by that 10 car to just dip down low, as he could see in his relative a lot of those drivers coming back. So that's what happened with Adam Angerstein. I'm not too sure if I'll be able to get another look at this. No, I will not. Just going to go back and see if we can take another look at that mishap between Charlie Dickey and Patrick Mcquaid, but it doesn't look like we are. So that's Charlie Dickey up into the top 10. Probably not the way that he wanted to get that done, but nonetheless, it's over. Nothing you can do. Keep racing hard. Tyrone Yo up 4 spots. Still holding it down in 9th. John Higgins Jr. in 8th. But right now our biggest mover being Brian Ludlow up 9 spots in 5th place. You see in the relative right there, still 5.4 seconds off your race leader, Mark Snyder. Looks like David Hara, I believe, coming down pit road here. So we might start seeing our green flag pit stops as Joshua Hetrick in that Or Lawn Care 25 Chevrolet, now P3. Jim Ott still second, Mark Snyder first. So we'll start seeing some of these cars coming down under pit road green. We might see some guys try to stretch it a little bit to see if they can make it to another caution by chance. But all our leaders down pit road. So right now, new race leader Brian Ludlow, Casey Bacala, Eric Davis, and Tyrone Yo Jr. Looks like Charlie Dickey, Cameron Harris, John Higgins, all coming down pit road here. And there is Brian Ludlow in that all-orange Gorilla Glue 150. You see the number 10 car, Adam Angerstein, back onto the track. You love to see it. He's going to be a couple of laps down, though. His night is pretty much done as far as picking up any meaningful points. But it's always good to see a driver out there, even at 3 laps down, giving it everything he's got till the finish. So hats off to you, Adam Angerstein, Casey Bacala, Brian Ludlow fighting it out for P1. That's the 41 car of Casey. Onto the inside, making it look easy. Taking over this race here on lap 68. Of course, both these drivers still having to come down to make some green flag pit stops. But points rewarded for leading a lap nonetheless for these guys who were sitting 5th and 6th there for a while. So if we go back to the drivers that came down pit road, it looks like David Hara is actually going to have the advantage once Casey and Brian come down pit road, for the time being anyways, in front of Jim Ott, Mark Snyder, and Joshua Hetrick, who were those 4 drivers up top. So David beating those guys off of pit road, and it looks like once we start getting these other drivers up front it's going to be David Hara leading this race. Till that happens, though, it is going to be the 41 car of Casey Bacala and his Ford Mustang leading us around Chicagoland. These 2 drivers extending it as much as possible. This is what I was talking about. Sometimes some drivers will come in a little bit early on their fuel situation, knowing that they have to make a green flag pit stop. And some of these drivers really try to stretch it out, maybe see if they can get lucky to get a green flag. But as you can see here, David Hara on the outside of Casey with those fresh tires. And I think Casey's like, yep, that is it for me. Or at least he tried to anyways. We'll see how that works out for him. But David Hara, Brian Ludlow, or Jim Ott and Mark Snyder on these fresh tires, catching up really fast onto the back end of Casey there. At 54 car of Jason Arson is not for position. So right now it's David Hara, your race leader. When he gets this lap back, which should be right here. Jim Ott behind him in the 4 car, and Mark Snyder, who had a dominant performance the first half of this race, is now his turn to chase the rabbit. See Larry Garnes in that 20 car, that as well is not for position, so he's going to duck down real low, let these lead lap cars have a clean racetrack, be able to get around of him almost 3/4 of the way through here. Oh, you see the, oh my, The 10 car of Adam Angerstein almost getting into the race leader. Heads up driving by David Hara there, but that's certainly going to lose him some time. And now it's really up to Jim Ott and Mark Snyder to take advantage of that, get a run going. As that 4 car is trying to latch on into the draft of the 54, trying to work that high line. David Hara stays down low. So unfortunate, as David was out to a pretty comfortable lead there, and it looks like he's actually going to get passed for the lead. So that's unfortunate, Adam Angerstein. Not too sure what happened there, but nonetheless, you got to be really careful when you see these lead cars, and especially careful when it's the leader. But when you see these lead cars coming, man, just make sure you're on your A game there. So unfortunately, that's going to mess up David Hara's race for the time being. Still 25 laps to go, though. He's certainly not out of it. He's got a teammate, albeit a lap down, in Larry Garnes. So they might be able to work the draft together there a little bit. You see Mark Snyder on the outside in that 21 car making the pass for second. That 54 Mountain Dew car is a lap or two down, but he's holding pace, so he's going to stay right where he is. Some of these other cars, like the leader, Jim Ott, using it to his advantage for the time being, being able to catch the draft. You see David Hara, though, on the move. And it looked like he was getting real close to the inside of that 21 car. But Snyder maintaining P2 for the time being. Joshua Hetrick did come out of all that 4th. Eric Davis 5th. Tyrone Jr. with a heck of a run so far. Up 7 spots in 6th. David Hara on the inside of Snyder. That's the battle for second place right now. Larry Garnes trying to work with his teammate. Not going to get it done. Mark Snyder still P2. David Lurfano sitting back in P8. Charlie Dickey still inside the top 10 in 9th. And Jason Arson keeping that 10th. We should note that 11th on back are a lap down. So right now, only the top 10 on the lead lap. Being led, by the way, by Larry Garnes, that 20 car that you see behind David Hara, trying to work with him and get him back up the front in the draft. So if we see a caution come out, it's going to be Larry Garnes getting the lucky dog detailing, lucky dog of the night. Under 20 laps to go at Chicagoland, week 2 of the Truckers Feed America series, here with All American Racing League. Eric Davis sitting back in 5th, 12 seconds off the pace. That's the 25 car of Joshua Hetrick. You see at the top of your screen, 10 seconds off of Jim Ott right now. These guys trying to get back up to the front any way possible. Not a whole lot left in this race, so they're going to have to get going here pretty soon. Back up front, your top 3 drivers, Jim Ott, Mark Snyder, David Harrah. Harrah looking onto the inside, taking a quick peek. Nothing there. He's going to check back up, fall back in line behind Mark Snyder. Now Mark Snyder looking onto the inside. Not quite there just yet, but you see the 21 and the 15. Getting a little anxious here with just 15 laps to go. Is everybody still figuring out these next-gen cars, including NASCAR themselves, with not having any in-race experience? You see the leaders now coming up on some more lapped cars. That's Charlie Dickey in the 37, representing Faded Motorsports tonight. He's sitting in 10th, so a good showing for him so far. If he can hold it down, that'd be a nice top 10 finish for him, but we'll see if this goes the distance without another caution. People are getting anxious here. They'd be getting a little tired of all this single file racing. Might see somebody trying to make a move here soon. I think it's going to start right up here up front with that 21 car of Mark Snyder. David Harrah falling off pace just a tad. But he's right back up there on the back bumper of the 21 car. Right now, with just about 10 laps to go, it is going to be a 3-man show with Ott, Snyder, Harrah. Joshua Hetrick sitting back in 4th. 13 seconds behind Jim Ott. So 4th and 5th out of contention right now for making a run, unless, of course, there's a caution. But if we stay green flag racing here, and this is going to get dangerous now. You got 2 lapped cars in front of the leader, and this is what Mark Snyder wants to see. Trying to get anything going here, as it looks like the 19 might have lifted there a little bit just to try to get some of these lead lap cars through. It's crazy to see Jason Arson in that 54 car. He is in 9th place right now. That's how dominant these 3 cars up front have been, that the leader is literally drafting off of the 9th place driver right now, and Jason doing a phenomenal job in his 54 Chevrolet, keeping it together for Jim Ott to be able to take advantage of that. As you see, the 4-car starting to ride away with this thing. 8 laps to go. Mark Snyder close to a half second off. And there is Mark Snyder onto the inside of the 4-car of Jim Ott. He's going to be taking the race lead here. Needed some kind of action here. Coming up on 5 laps to go, and we got it. Thanks to Mark Snyder, but that 4-car of Ott not going anywhere. Onto the back bumper of the 21. We'll see if he's got anything for him. As only just a few remaining laps here. Mark Snyder's showing some patience out there. That was a grind to get back up to P1. He led the majority of the race in the early going. After green flag pit stops, came back P3. And had to look at that white bumper of Jim Ott for a while. So some really good patience being shown by Mark Snyder, and it looks like he's going to get the job done here at Chicagoland, as it does take a really long time to build anything to get a pass in these next-gen cars. We'll see if Snyder holds on to it. David Harris still sitting back, P3. He is a half second off race leader, Mark Snyder. Oh, and it looks like the 54 car a little bit slow through that front stretch there, but Mark Snyder losing a little bit of pace, and Jim Ott trying to get up high there with that 54. The 54 kind of all over the place there, inside, outside. Pick a lane, dude. And the 4 car is going to take advantage of that 54 car being up high. He catches a nice little jab for them, works and slingshots around the 21 car of Mark Snyder. So he's back into the lead. Onto the front stretch here, Jim Ott going to take the white flag. Our final lap, week 2 at Chicagoland, All-American Racing League. Oh, the 54 car. Remember, that's a 9th place driver right there. Getting out of the back bumper of that 4 car. If I didn't know any better, these guys look like they're some teammates out there almost. Coming to the front stretch, it is going to be Jim Ott holding it for P1. Takes the checkered flag. Mark Snyder, what a heck of a run. David Hara, 3rd. Joshua Hetrick, 4th. Tyrone Yo Jr., our biggest mover of the day when it's all said and done. 8 spots for Tyrone in his 02 Chevrolet. Going to be taking a top 5 finish at Chicagoland. Great job, Tyrone. Cameron Harris, 6th. Eric Davis, 7th. David Lurfano, 8th. Jason Arson, 9th. And Larry Garnes going to be in 10th. The 15 car of David Hera finishing P3 this week. David Hera, how you feeling, bud?
Oh man, I'm a little tired. That was a difficult race.
Yeah, difficult race indeed, and it really doesn't seem like with these next gen cars you can really get a good run. I mean, you can stay with the draft, you can stay with the car in front of you, but it seems like a lot of rabbit chasing out there. But nonetheless, while Jim Ott and Mark Snyder were out there racing for P1, you were able to stay consistent throughout the entire evening. And bringing home a podium. So congratulations. You're second, third place in a row, my man.
Yeah, man. This is good for Hillbilly Motorsports and the Blue Gray Plastic Fab Chevrolet. Those teammates, man. So the 4 and the 21 are teammates, and they after the pit stops come out with the lead there on the pit stops cycle there last time, and they had a teammate which was a lap car, and actually they were able to come back up on me really quick. And working together, those guys did exactly what they needed to do. Congratulations to Jim and Mark on their finishes. And no, we did. We had a good time, man, and we finished pretty good. I can't complain about it.
Yeah, going to be taking home a chunk of points and also earning some team points for Hillbilly Motorsports. A good, clean run by David Hera in the 15 car. David, we appreciate it, and we'll move on to next week.
All right, thank you, Fady.
Next up, your second place driver, battling it out with Jim Ott for the majority of the second half of that race. It's going to be Mark Snyder. Hey, Snyder, you got a copy?
I got you.
Hey, so a really, really superb race overall. You led the majority of the first half of this race. Everybody came down for green flag pit stops. David Hera actually went out, beat you guys off pit road, but you and your teammate were able to work together and get back up there for 1-2. Which second place is really good. We're always shooting for first, but finishing behind your teammates always good. How important was that 54 car? I'm not sure if he had been a lap down just yet, but he was sitting ninth place right there. How important did that 54 car play into the end of this race?
It was huge. Jason's part of JB Motorsports, so Jim's like, I'm going to pass you here. We can catch Jason, and we're just going to work together and, catch David. David was strong all night. But no, it was huge for Jason to be there and, obviously lap down, getting him past David, and then it was just, pushing him around the track.
Yeah, and definitely maybe next week it'll be his turn to get pulled around the track. We'll see. But a great run by you, Mark. Like I said, dominant up until that green flag pit stop, and still dominant after that, of course. I mean, your teammate and David Harris, 1 through 3. I think you guys had a boatload of time between you guys and that fourth place driver. So really just a phenomenal show between you three drivers. Congratulations on the second place finish, earning your team some points and earning yourself some points as we move forward next week to week 3.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, huge shout out to Jim. I texted him earlier today. I said, hey, I need some practice with this, and we worked on it all night, and right up to race time, and then just letting him push. He pushed me up front, and we're working on some things, and and so it was nice having my teammate right there the whole race. So big shout out to Jim.
Absolutely, Mark. Go celebrate with your teammate. Have a good week, and we'll see you back next Tuesday.
Yep, appreciate it. Thanks.
And next up is going to be Jim Ott, your race leader. Jim, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Hey, man, so we were talking to your teammate a little bit, Mark Snyder. We talked about just how important that 54 car played at the end. Pulling you guys along that track. I'll give the floor to you as well. Just how important was the effort of that 54 car?
That was tremendous. I wanted to kind of keep him in front of us anyway, just in case the caution come back. Jason's our teammate, so he would have been back on the lead lap and possibly racing with us. So I mean, we were running that middle line, which we were carrying enough speed, I felt, to kind of keep everyone behind us, especially David. So, if we could just kind of maintain that spot, we'd be good, and clearly it was. But yeah, it was crucial having Jay up there.
Yeah, so definitely a big points night as far as team points go. And I think as long as you, stick around full time, I think this win's going to automatically put you in the playoffs here week 2. So congratulations, Jim, on taking home Chicagoland. I think going into this race, nobody was real sure how these next-gen cars were going to react. Obviously, you can run practice laps all day, even with, another car. But once you're out there 20 cars deep, you never really know how these next-gen cars are going to react at these different tracks. What was your experience like with the next-gen car here at Chicagoland?
I can say being out front, love the grip. That clean air is huge. The car would pretty much respond however you wanted to, but as soon as you got in that dirty air and traffic, you're really having to throttle it and just make your corners. So it is a big deal. It's like a track like Chicagoland, I kind of mini Daytona in a way, but you need help out there. So, the air is important. That clean air is important. So, it's new to me too. I haven't been doing a lot of a cup car and don't have a lot of experience. So, learning experience for myself, but so far so good.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Good breakdown there, Jim. Happy about that. Again, team points for you and your boys, individual points for yourself. Plus, like I said, pretty sure locking it down into the playoffs. Hell of a run out there tonight between you and your teammate Mark Snyder, and of course that 54 car that we mentioned a couple of times. Great teamwork out there. Really good showing. Congratulations, Jim. Before I let you go, is there anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, of course, our sponsors and the admins, but my teammates, and Mark did. He ran a hell of a race, and he did what he had to do. And it's one of us was going to win tonight, I felt, and just proud to be on board, and thank you for what you do as well.
I appreciate it, man. And one of you guys were going to win, so why not it be you, right?
I guess so, man. Maybe next week will be his luck.
All right, congratulations, Jim.
All right, thank you so much.
All right, that was race winner Jim Ott working it with his teammate Mark Snyder and his teammate of 54. Now, I didn't know this when I said it, but I did say it. I mean, it almost looked like that 54 car was certainly teammates with whoever, whether it was Snyder or whether it was Ott, working really well with each other out there, and come to find out it was. So great run by all the drivers here. I think we only had 2 cautions. So just a phenomenal job by everybody here at All American Racing League. Top Sale Trucking, big thanks to them sponsoring this season, Truckers Feed America Series.